Hi, I want to quickly show you how you can customize the preview images in our built-in skins. So let's create a project. I'm going to open up Pano2VR, close the welcome screen. I'm going to add some panoramas. These panoramas have been geolocated. So to add all the hotspots, all we need to do is select Tour, automatic linking, closest node, and that's all the hotspots set. I want to add a web output. I'm going to be using the feather orb skin. And now what we're going to do is create and save the project. So let's do that. And we're going to save it to the project folder and create the output. Once we can see the output, we can now check the thumbnail images in the skin. So here's the output. When I click on the open menu button or thumbnail button, we can see the thumbnails that have been automatically generated, and you can see that generally speaking they're okay, apart from this one. I'd like that to point in a slightly better direction. So the way we're going to do that is go back to Pano2VR. Now the thumbnail images by default are using all the default views of the nodes. So if I select that particular node, you can see this is the view it's using. So all I need to do is just change the default view. So let's move it to a view that I want to see. Right button click in the viewer and then set default view. Once I've done that, all I've got to do is save the project, live update, and when we have a look, we'll see that next time we open the thumbnail menu, we've now got the outside church looking at the door and the thumbnail view that I want to see. What I want to do now is look at the preview images for point hotspots. So for thumbnails, using the default view is very good. You see the images that you want to see, but for point hotspots we can go one further. Now the default again is to use all of those default views. So if I hover over a point hotspot, the default view in the next node was to look at the door, and that's what we do, and then the following node again was to look at inside the church. Now coming out of the church, the default view is to still look into it. What I'd like that preview image to do is to look away and heading back outside. Okay, so how do we do that then? Right, well, we'll go back to Pano2VR. We'll select a point hotspot, because what we're going to do is set up what we call target views. Once we've got those, then we can get the point hotspots to display them. So to set up a target view then is we click the point hotspot. Now you can either click the bullseye that opens up the target window, or even quicker still, command click on the Mac and control click on the PC, opens up the window. We can set the view we want, click OK, and then it's option click on the Mac and alt click on the PC to follow that point hotspot. And what you can do is keep setting up these targets, let's do that, until we get all of the views set up that we want. So let's just correct all of these. There we go, follow that through. I'm going to spin it around. And when we click on the target here, you'll see that it's looking the wrong way. I want it to look towards the door. Follow it through. So the idea is that the views are going to be what they are, or what you'll be seeing when you get there. So let's look there, click OK, follow that. And finally, we'll probably be looking at this building if I'm looking forward. Okay, so let's just put that there and follow it out. Okay, so that's basically all of the target views set up in Pano2VR. What we want to do now is we've now got to open up the skin editor to tell the skin to use these views. So click in the skin editor. Job number one is going to save the skin. So if I use a keyboard shortcut to do this, all of our skins are right protected. So I get a little warning, click OK, and I'm going to modify the name of this so I know I've modified it. So let's just call it mod. Stick mod on the end, and the first save location is going to be the default skins directory. If I saved it here, then this skin will be available for every time I use Pano2VR and click the skin button. But what I want to do is save it to the desktop and the projects folder. So I'm going to click save, and now this skin is saved there. Now what we want to do is adjust the node hotspot. So if I whiz around the image to get back to where we were, let's go to default view. If I click the hotspot, you'll see that we're using skin ID HT_node. So if I go back to the skin, what I want to do is look for ht_node. Here it is. I can expand it, and we can keep expanding the elements until I get to what is known as the node image. So hotspot template node image. If I select this and cursor up in its properties until we get to the node image properties, you can see the view that it's using. So the default setting is to use the default view. I can now get it to use the target view. And now these will use, or what it will do is it will create the images that I require for each target that we set. So if I just save the skin, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to have a look at the output. Let's go back to Pano2VR and just click on the little button here. And then now what's going to happen is when we click on the hotspots, look at the preview images. Then now that's going inside the church. That's heading towards the altar. But if I spin it around, we should see now coming out of the church and heading towards that building. There we go. So that's changing the preview images so they match the target. So that's, if you like, setting the target views for the node point hotspots. The node image element can also allow us to add some special effects. So let's go back to the skin and select the node image again. Now, when we looked at this last time, we saw we had a projection of rectilinear. Now we've got loads of projections we can get the node image to show. So as an example, let's go to stereographic. I'm going to change the target this time round to a specific view. And here we're going to see, we're going to set it to pan 0. I'm going to get it to tilt down to say about -70. Leave the roll alone, and because it's going to be like a little planet view that we're going after, let's give it a wide field of view. So say 290. So if I now just save the skin, the live update should update the output, and now what we've got is this little planet, so stereographic view. So works a lot better obviously on the outside images. You can see we've got the usual little planet view there. Okay, so that's one effect that we can do. Of course, there's lots of different effects here. We can have cylinder, fisheye, mirror ball, sphere. So there's lots that you can choose from. However, what I want to show you now, let's go back to rectilinear and let's go back to default. Because what I want to show you now is you can use overlays, image overlays with these hotspots as well, or these hotspot previews. So if we go to my little folder, I've got an image here and it's a bubble image. There it is. So what I'm going to do here is just give this a skin ID. So let's just call it bubble. And what I need to do is position it in the skins tree. So if we grab it and drag it down and position it, I'm going to position it so it's over the top of the node image. Okay, because any elements in the skins tree, the higher up they are, the more forward they are. So if it's above the node image, it's going to be in front of it. Now I've positioned it correctly in the tree. What we need to do is position it correctly in the skin. So it's actually overlaying the node image, which is this one. And how we do that is if I set its anchor position to the center, all I need to do now is go 0, 0, and it will be directly on top. Now we can do that by either typing in 0 or just double click the position and the bubble image goes on directly on top of the node image. Right, now, as you can see, it's a bit of a different size. So what we need to do is match the size so it fits snugly over the top. If I look at the node image, you'll see that it's 100 by 100 width. It's been reduced down to a scaling of 50%, and it has this alpha logic block. So we've got to replicate this in the bubble image. So select the bubble. I'm going to select the aspect ratio button and just type in 100. The scaling was at 50, so 50%. So let's do that on both X and Y. And then the logic block, it's now basically the alpha is set to 0. So when we first see the hotspot, we see the target. When we mouse over it, the node image expands and as it gets bigger, it also fades in. So this is what the alpha is doing. So this logic block is saying that when we mouse over equals true, the alpha is going to go to 1, so it's going to be a solid, and it's going to do it over 0.2 of a second. So I'm just going to copy this, close, select the bubble. I'm going to set the alpha of the bubble to 0, and we're just going to paste in the logic block. Now it's saying, do I want to paste or copy all of the transition times and everything, which I do. So I'm just going to select copy, and that's done. If I now just save the skin and we have a look at the output, what we should see now is the bubble overlay over the top of our node images. And there you go. All right then, so that's basically how to customize all the preview images in the Pano2VR built-in skins. And as always, thanks for watching.